Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We offer stories of infidelity, betrayal, and redemption. Please like and subscribe. Cheers. Now, on to today's story. My 46 husband's 48 ex-wife with whom he cheated on me with has sent me a Facebook friend request. Advice. We have been married for almost 2 years. Last month I found out that he had been texting, communicating, sexting, requesting nude pics, and asking to meet up with his ex-wife before we were married and basically the entire first year we were married. He said he stopped communicating with her entirely last August. Oh great, what a stand-up guy/s. I know this is written about 100 times a day on this subreddit. I will say it anyways. I knew something wasn't right. Always trust your gut. During our first year of marriage, I would try to talk to him about the distance I felt between he and I. I even point blank asked him if there was someone else. His response was to tell me I had nothing to worry about and that I needed to work on my negative self-narrative, and then he would stonewall me. Super fun times were had/s. Fast forward to a month ago. He started a conversation that I had given up on never having and asked me if I felt like we were growing distant from each other. I was floored. I almost fell for this shit and was like, yes, I feel this, let's fix this. And then it was all the things that I didn't do and needed to change. Example, why don't I flirt more with him? Huh? What? That's when I stopped the conversation and asked him, where in the world is this coming from? I have tried to have this conversation with him too many times to even count. The conversation went nowhere. It was all nitpicking me over ridiculous stuff. But I needed to know where this crap was coming from. I contacted his ex-wife and asked for her help understanding his behavior. I know she is not my friend. I just wanted insight and most of all answers. What she told me confirmed every suspicion I had told myself I was crazy for having. She voluntarily told me that they never stopped talking. He was always asking her for nudes and asking to meet up with her. She said that he is obsessed with her. Yup, she said it to make a point, and point was taken. She talked about the affair she had on him that broke up their marriage and how much she messed up and how much she loved him. Basically, everything she said was to make me, the wife, feel like the outsider to what they have. Or had. Who the hell knows? I confront my husband with this knowledge. Predictably, he stonewalls or dissociates, or whatever people who do this type of shit do in order to live with themselves. We went to counseling. And even went to an intensive, and expensive, weekend therapy retreat with just us and a therapist, where he finally apologized, like a real apology. Who the hell knows? Then last week, I get a Facebook friend request from his ex-wife. Basically, what is the actual duck? Really? He says she is blocked on his Facebook, whatever. You know the saying, keep your friends close and your enemies closer? This is what this feels like. Things you need to know. I am not going to fight over a man. I am not her friend. She was ducking around with a man she knew was married. He is a sorry sack of shit for making the choice to cheat. I am here now, still married, because what we talked about and shared in therapy felt real. It is just so confusing. Why stay with me? Just go be free or go back to the ex. Why do I need to be in the picture? I freaking hate this. I know, I probably should have left already. I am literally emotionally spinning in place. Do I accept her friend request? I know it would make him so uncomfortable and anxious, because I don't think she has any problems telling me that they are ducking again, which would save me a lot of time and trouble and detective work. I found out about my husband's affair 3 months ago. I only seem to be feeling worse. Need support. I, 46, found out that my husband, 48, never stopped communicating with his ex-wife until a year into our marriage. I found out by reaching out to her because I wanted advice from someone who really knows him about his tendency to shut down or deflect when we argue. You can read in my post history more about his ex. Anywho, she gave me way more information than I asked for and told me that he is obsessed with her and would text her to ask for nudes or to meet up. It was a lot to process. Now I wish I had asked more questions. I was just shook to my core. I thanked her for talking to me and acknowledged the weirdness of me reaching out to her. My husband swears they never messed around and that he was just ducking with her head, whatever that means. By looking through his phone I found out he also had a separate bank account that he said had about 5k in it. We have all joint accounts except for a checking and a savings that I keep with my deceased husband's name still on just in case I need to deposit a check made out to him. My previous husband passed away 6 years ago unexpectedly. I literally typically only have about $50 to $75 in my checking. I kept that open because I was still receiving back child support payments at the time. Anywho, he said he would pay off a timeshare he owned with his ex and put the remainder money into our joint account. I haven't followed up with him about that. We have been to MC and IC. Our therapist has repeatedly told us to stay vulnerable and ask for what we really need. It is so hard. I am so broken right now. My husband continues to shut down on me. He goes full on sulk and silent treatment. It is awful. Our anniversary was August 18th, we went out to dinner. He got me a really nice present. I didn't buy him anything, I didn't realize we were doing presents, we didn't do presents last year and he never made mention of presents. However, I painted a lock to hang on a sculpture in a small park in our neighborhood. I painted the keys too for our key rings. I really believed I was being thoughtful. Finally, today he tells me that he has been upset about not getting an anniversary present. I said I understand how he feels that way and that it hurt me to know he got his feelings hurt. Which also helped to explain him being extra moody and pouty this past week. I said that I didn't know we were doing presents. I also reminded him of the lock. And then I said my truth, that I just didn't really feel like being super amazing and thoughtful. That I have been really hurt and that basically staying in the marriage is taking everything I have. I said it doesn't help when he is rude to me, which he does all the time and then denies it, but he has slipped lately and done it to me in front of other people and I ask them if they just heard what I heard and they confirm. It doesn't help when he shuts down and pretends I am not even there. And that when he does that it only makes me want to not be around him, like it makes me really question why I am staying in this marriage. He planned a surprise trip, surprise in that I don't know the destination for this week. I am supposed to be packing right now. But we are literally in a bizarre standoff. I tried to talk to him and he ignores me and starts talking to the dogs. The trip is another reason I didn't realize we were supposed to be buying presents, I mean, the money for the trip comes from our account. I really am starting to think my husband is emotionally abusive. I really hated writing that down just now. I feel like my vulnerability only provides him with ammo to hurt me. Like when I have told him that the cruelest thing he can do to me is give me the silent treatment, it seems like he has done even more. I really don't know what to do. Currently separated and I feel crazy. Advice. We separated over a month ago. My husband, 48M, is living with a friend. I, 46F, am staying in our house. We have been meeting occasionally to talk and we text a lot. The shutting down behavior has been magnified. Because now he just ignores my texts and my calls. But this is not a two-way street. One of his major complaints has always been that if I am out with my friends he feels like I ignore him by not constantly texting with him. I feel like texting in front of people is rude, my husband included. I just feel like I am going crazy. I asked for the separation. I needed space from the stonewalling behavior and to process the affair that he had with his ex-wife, see my previous posts. Every time he and I meet to talk I end up apologizing and I feel like I have to reassure him back into the relationship. It is crazy to me. He cheated and lied to me for years and I have to make him feel safe. I don't lie to him, but right now I am questioning myself, have I lied? I tell him everything, and if I slip on one detail or am reluctant to tell him a specific detail that isn't even about me but my friend's personal business, he wants to tell me I lied to him. I feel like there is a huge double standard. Am I just being ridiculous by trying to be heard by someone who I feel really doesn't care about my feelings? Our MC who he has been seeing by himself is big about your feelings are your own feelings and no one can fix those for you. Which I think has translated into my husband treating me like my sadness and hurt over his affair isn't his responsibility. Like he has told me that I either accept it and we move on or we are done. Like what? I don't trust him. I can't even talk to him about it because he shuts down. And now he feels entitled to tell me that he doesn't have to put up with what I have to say because he is setting boundaries too? It is like he is so angry at me that there is no way to dig out of this hole. And I don't know what I did wrong? Yes, I have been angry. I have said some things to him that were mean. I apologized to them. I have said to him that what I have said was inappropriate and out of bounds and that I am ashamed of what I have said in anger. I feel like I am losing my mind. Reconciliation regret. Rant. I am such a fool. How could I let myself be so desperate? My entire story can be found in my past posts. Husband, 49, cheated on me, 47, with his ex-wife, was still messing around with her before we got married, and a year into our marriage, this is what he has admitted to. So realistically, where there is one cockroach there are more. During our reconciliation he admitted to having sex with his ex-wife while he and I were dating. It makes me sick to think about it all. 2016-17, back when we were dating, we broke up for about 6 months. We broke up because my gut said something was really wrong. I pushed for a conversation to tell me what was going on, and at the time he told me that he couldn't see being with me for the rest of his life. I thought it was a weird and hurtful statement, as I only wanted to know what was happening. There was a defined shift in his behavior towards me. He became distant and crude with me, and we began having so many disagreements, like insignificant stuff became huge. Somehow just wanting to know what was going on with him became a define the relationship conversation. Summer 2017, I took it in stride and we broke up. It was painful for me, I was heartbroken, but I let him go. I even got back to a healthy place where I was feeling confident again. Fall 2017, 6 months later, he starts texting me. I now wish I had shut it down back then and blocked his number. Instead I let him come back, and then I married him. The big red flag I ignored. He couldn't believe that when we broke up I never reached out to him. I should have run the other direction. What I didn't realize was he was actually telling me he was just a narcissistic user needing kibble. He made a big show of telling me that he didn't cheat on me while we were dating and really needed me to reassure him that I believed him. I thought it was weird, but looking back I wanted to believe him. That is what we chumps do. We want love so badly, we will believe anything to be with the person we love. August 2018, we got married. He never stopped messing with his ex. My gut told me all along something was wrong. Within the first 4 months I bought a GPS tracker and hid it in his car. Like, who does that? Turns out I was right. My best friend, no longer my BFF, actually ended up working with my husband's ex and found out they were indeed fooling around. When I asked my BFF to level with me, she lied to my face. Ended up my BFF was having an affair and denied knowing anything to protect herself. She is no longer my friend. People I love have let me down. My husband isn't the man he led me to believe he is, or who I wanted him to be. When I reflect on everything, I let myself down. Summer 2020, after I found out about his affair we did extensive marriage counseling. MC only seemed to reinforce his entitlement. He started acting like a frat bro, he started vaping, and told me he wasn't responsible for my feelings. Those were his takeaways from MC. Fall 2020, separated last fall. He wanted me to hurry up and get over it. You know what I did? I promised that I would work to get over it. And you know what? For those who are contemplating reconciliation, it doesn't work that way. You need a partner who is ready to be accountable and who loves you enough to be patient when you are triggered, because regardless of how strong you think you are, you will be triggered. Cheating and lying causes trauma. You can't just get over it. I let him stonewall me. I let him sit there expressionless while I broke down. He even laughed in my face when I tried to explain how I was feeling. I married a monster, and finding out he is a monster I couldn't let go. For my own sanity, got to learn to let go. I am in the same boat right now. My husband has cheated on me with no less than 10 men and 2 women. Yet I can't let go. Our problem is we love with all of our heart and expect that they do the same. You are right. I convinced myself I could love enough for the both of us. I am sure things that I have failed to deal with have left me unprepared to appropriately react to being emotionally abused. But trust me, this is what it is. And I probably don't have to tell you, we deserve better and protect ourselves like we would protect the people we love. We are worthy of banal human decency. If your husband is having sex with other men, then he lied to you from the get-go if he wasn't honest about that. Why would you stay with a man who so clearly doesn't respect or love you? He's a man as well. Wait, your ex-BFF had an affair with your husband or another man? My BFF was having an affair with someone else. She didn't want to tell me about my husband and his ex-wife hooking up because apparently she, my BFF, shared information about her own affair to my husband's ex. Think of the secret sisterhood of cheaters. My BFF would rather lie to me instead of helping me. She showed me who she really is. This is why people should always be apprehensive about reconciliation. There's a certain subset of people who believe a relationship can weather any storm, and honestly, ultimately I think they believe infidelity isn't that big a deal. So they always push towards the BS should try reconciliation. Reconciliation is a Hail Mary, it is the very last resort before the BS leaves. It fails, and it fails often. You have to be wary and actively look for them slipping up during reconciliation, and if they do, you have to leave. Your STBX not only slipped up, he never tried and he laughed in your face. You can never stay with him. To anyone reading this, if you're cheated on, gear yourself up mentally, emotionally and physically to leave. Don't trust WS on their word. If they say water is wet, run the tap to corroborate it. Put yourself in a position to be out of the house and out of the relationship, barring any legal action of course, but legal action should always be in the background anyway, even during the reconciliation, in a day. Sort out a place to stay for yourself, separate finances, have the discussion over who gets what etc. during reconciliation. This not only helps you leave much easier if it fails, and it more than likely will, but it also firmly enforces a boundary/consequence for WS. It's okay to have regret. You tried your all to be the best partner you could. He still couldn't give you what you needed. Regret the time lost, but don't regret being the better, honest, open, more faithful person. Those are all great qualities. And your next partner will love that about you. Take your time to heal and move on and find a more fulfilling relationship. I didn't marry her, but I have had similar experiences to yours. The only thing I've gotten out of my experiences on the matter is this. They only truly want you when they are at their lowest and need someone to fill their void momentarily. You're only needed until the next one comes along. Then they walk away from you really easily, until the next time they are at that low point again. You care about them to such an extent, one of which they will never fully grasp due to their immense levels of selfishness. These kinds of people always seem like they are winning at all times, and every time you let them back in they take all that they can from you, then throw you out once they are in a good place again. It's a tough one for sure. It's never easy for us on the other side of the fence. 'Cause we care and they don't. Least, not to the extent we do. So there is an imbalance between us and them within the long, drawn-out relationship over the years. I wish I could help you out more. And I know nothing I say here will really put you in a better spot and take away the negative emotions you're feeling. But all I can say is this: one day long down the road, not them but you, or us, we will look back, and catch ourselves in the act of looking back, and say, enough is enough. And that day is when we are the ones who find out that we've lived a good life for ourselves without the person that held us back and robbed us of our joy in life. At this point, however, I think you should just make everything in your life about you and only you as best you can. Yes, you may have been fooled, and manipulated, lied to, deceived, etc., but that's only because you took the risk you were willing to take and opened up to someone else. That's a point in my book. I wish you the best in your recovery. Ladies of the world, one thing I can promise is that I would never sleep with my ex-wife while dating you. Promise. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Please comment, like and subscribe. Cheers. Have a wonderful day or night, wherever you are.